Hi there, Natalie with you today with a new process video for Pinkfish Studio. And today we're going to be using the Simply the Best collection. This is one of the newest collections from Pinkfish Studio and it'll be available in the upcoming weeks in all your scrapbooking stores. This is a beautiful collection. It has a very masculine palette. It has these beautiful designs and it's perfect for a lot of things. It's super versatile. Today I want to take advantage of it to document pictures of my husband and his favorite child, which is our dog. So I really love this paper. This paper's name is Chill Out, and the reason that I love it is because it has these huge film strips that run from the top to the bottom of the page. So I want to take advantage of these film strips to actually frame my photos. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the ones right at the left and right edge of the paper. That's just going to give me that complete look of the film strip. So once I have them out, I want to actually hollow out one of the frames of the film strip because I think that's the perfect place to put my picture. I'm gonna make sure that I keep the sentences or the little squares or rectangles, whichever way you want to call it, that actually bring extra sentiment onto my page. Like this one here says mood booster, sorry, and I thought it has nothing to do with my picture, so I'm gonna hollow that out and use it to frame my photo. Now another reason that I picked these two film strips is because they have a space that's full of stars, so I thought it was a great place to add extra embellishments. So you're gonna see I'm gonna hollow out the one film strip and I'm gonna do the same to the other one, and it just I make sure that they were in two different places, and this one happens to be one right at the top of the film strip on the one side, and then the other one's going to be at the bottom, so they're going to work great for my design. Now in order for me to bring the attention to the film strips, I thought about just adding them onto other paper, but I want to add a little bit of mixed media, like a little bit of extra color behind it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a heavy cardstock. I'm cutting it to 9 inches wide by 11 inches in height. That's just going to give me the idea of a frame within a frame. So I am actually gonna see right now I have the paper. I'm just placing my film strips. They're not gonna sit right next to each other. Instead I'm gonna put them on a slant. So that's one of the reasons why I am actually using the white cardstock too, because that is gonna help me tell create a more visual, not more visual, but it kind of it works better that way. If I put the strips right on a dark tone, it works great, but I thought that I want to bring a little bit of extra color. There's a lot of white going on this page, so I want to bring more of the colors of the collection just to make everything pop a little bit more. So you're gonna see that when I put my film strips, I used a pencil to mark where the pictures are gonna sit. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just gonna add a little bit of color around that area. I think the term that I always use is creating a halo of color next to the photo. Because my pictures are black and white, adding this color is just gonna make them pop. It's just gonna bring your attention to those areas. So I am gonna, like I said before, I'm gonna use some of the colors from the collection. I am using a little bit of yellow for this. I am using sweet mustard and marigold. I'm just going to use my ink blending brush. I'm starting with a little bit of sweet mustard. I'm just gonna create a halo. Literally think of it as just like a soft application of the ink. Once I have like a soft halo, the term is repetitive, I'm sorry for that, and I'm gonna add a little bit of marigold on top, and that's gonna be on the top left corner of my little white cardstock. And then for the bottom, I'm actually gonna bring some of those green tones. I am using mint and evergreen in the same fashion. I start by applying mint with my ink blending brush just to the area that I have marked, and then once I have like a soft I'm gonna say like ink blending spot, I'm gonna add a little bit more of the darker tone, in this case evergreen, but every so lightly. I'm not adding a lot of pressure. Like I said, I don't wanna saturate the area. I'm just gonna create a soft halo. And when you think of a halo, it's like a soft, like a radiating of color. So that's what I'm trying to do. Once I have my ink deposited on the paper, I want to bring a little bit of attention to that. I want to kind of distress it a bit. I want to bleach out some of the color, create a little bit of interest on the area. For that, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of water on top of the ink that I added. And then you're gonna see that I'm bringing a piece of cloth just to soak up the excess. I'm not rubbing the cloth, I'm just putting it on top, and it's gonna soak the excess of water. When the water hits the ink, and that's what I'm using this paper, this is Vicky Boutin foundation paper, it has kind of a coating, but when the water hits the ink, it kind of activates it. In this case, it bleaches it out, so I'm able to soak up the excess, and it gives me that kind of like faded look on the background. Now, to bring a little bit more interest to the background, and to also kind of marry it with the film strips, if you look at the film strips, it has like little stars in some of the squares. I am actually going to bring some of those stars onto the background. For this, I am using the Slimline Star Builder stencil. I'm going to use the smaller star. This is stencil number 3, and I'm going to use Storm ink, premium ink for this. I want to bring some of the blue that I'm going to put on the background to actually create my stars. And you're gonna see that I'm just using the stencil. I'm not putting it straight onto the page. Instead, I'm moving it around because I want to create, if you look at the stars, they don't have like a uniform formation like the stencil. Instead, they're kind of random. So to create that, I'm just moving the stencil a little bit to create a random look on the background. And like I said before, I use Storm ink for that. And once I have that already applied, I am actually gonna add a little bit of extra water. I want that distressed look that I applied to the color, to the yellow and the green, to carry on to the stars too. Again, I apply the water, let it sit for 2 seconds, and then I just soak up the excess of water. I do not rub the paper, I just soak up the excess. Now, while my paper dries completely, I'm gonna go ahead and actually create my frame. For this, I am using the Iconic paper. It's the name of the paper from the Simply the Best collection, and you're gonna see that I'm gonna frame it. I'm gonna make sure that my paper, that white cardstock, sits towards the left of the layout. And what I did with my trimmer is just cut the inside of the 9x12 space. I don't want to waste the paper. I'm actually going to use another layout, so I just trim that away. And when I glue my white cardstock onto the to the background, I make sure to leave quite a bit of the right hand side of the page, the white cardstock, kind of empty. I didn't glue it completely because I know that my title is going to sit in that area. Now that I have that in place, I'm gonna go ahead and actually back those spaces that I cut out from the film strips, with my pictures. I did not put my picture straight on. I actually play with the location of the picture so that when they sit on the paper, they're straight. So instead of having a little bit of a slant, I actually play with them so they actually are in the right position behind the frames. I hope that makes sense. And then I'm going to add a little bit of foam adhesive to go ahead and just attach them. You're going to see, like I said, they're not sitting vertically, vertically. They're actually there's a little bit of an angle when I'm attaching them. And that's just going to make it a little bit more interesting. At the same time, I'm adding different, I don't know if you call them widths or heights of foam adhesive, so that you see that difference on the background. Once I have them secure, I'm going to flip my page and just cut the excess of the film strips at the top and bottom of the layout. Once I have that, it's all about embellishing, and this collection has quite a few embellishments, but I want to take advantage of something that's totally different from what I have in the background. I have a lot of straight lines in the background, so I'm actually going to bring some of the circular elements of the collection. I'm going to use some pieces of ephemera, I'm going to use some of the puffy stickers, I'm going to use some of the chipboard stickers, some of the chipboard frames, just to bring more of a round look. I cut these two little kind of a hexagon pieces from one of the pattern papers, and then I'm just gonna continue bringing some of the colors. I'm gonna try to color block a little bit, and what I mean by that is I'm gonna try to put some of the yellow elements towards the top of the page and some of that greenish kind of minty tone towards the bottom of the page, just because I have those colors in the background. I'm gonna keep it super simple, and because I already have a lot of interest in the film strips themselves, I'm just gonna add a few pieces of ephemera right next to the pictures, and then right close to where I have all those spaces with the stars. That's just gonna create, if you look at it, it kind of creates this grid great design of embellishments on my page, and I think it just makes it really balanced. Once I have that, you're gonna see that I'm using pieces of ephemera. I am using cardstock stickers. I wanted to bring some of that blue that, you know, like there's a soft blue in this collection, so I went and cut some of the speech bubbles from this paper. All these papers are from Simply the Best. I'm not using anything else for this, and I'm just gonna fussy cut around the speech bubbles. I cut one, sorry, that had this star, just because that's the theme that is recurring in this collection, and I try to make sure that there were circles, because like I said, I am using that to cut to just soften the layout. I have a lot of straight lines, so I'm using circles to soften it and give it a different shape. And I cut one that had a house, because this is like a home picture. Now, to create my title, I'm gonna bring some of those stars onto that area where I'm gonna add it. And like I said, I'm gonna add it to the right side of my white cardstock. I'm gonna put it right at the edge where it meets the blue background. And I found this cardstock sticker that says "You and Me" with a 02, and I thought it was perfect for my husband. And I added a little bit more of those star, you know, I used the stencil again, but really a soft application. I just want a little bit of interest there. And then I'm going to repeat the same elements that I use in the clusters, the embellishment clusters, to create my title. So like I said, that cardstock sticker that's at the back, then I'm using the Imperfect and Awesome. That's one of that comes from the ephemera pack. I am adding some of the stars. I am adding some of the chipboard frames. I want to add some of the circles just to repeat what I have going throughout the page. Once I have that, I'm actually going to go ahead and add a little bit of white ink, just because I want to bring some of that whiteness from the cardstock onto the blue area of my page, and also to the area where I have the ink. And just to finish this page, I am actually going to add some enamel dots just to bring all the colors together. And also I am going to use the area right underneath the title on top of the pattern paper, so in the blue area, to add my lines of journal. For this, I'm going to use my white gel pen, because I just want to create that difference, you know, that interest. And that's about it. I actually love how this turned out. It came together super quick. Well, it takes a time between cutting, but you know, the idea and the execution takes no time. This collection is beautiful. Like I said, it will be available in a couple weeks at your local scrapbook store, so make sure you check it out. As always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care, guys.